basically, we, like I said, our proposal was status quo, our website became status quo, and our prospect was no longer getting those aha moments. And that's, I think, what was missing the most in this whole sales process is we're having to explain why we're different and why we're better. And wouldn't it be better if instead they just came up with that on their own, through the materials they're seeing, through the presentations that they're getting and everything else, and just to kind of help them discover that aha moment. I read some study, it was really dry, I barely understood it, but there was this picture that basically explains how like your brain reacts to these aha moments. And it's quite powerful, and so I want to make sure that that was in there. Something else that I worked on and last quarter, so let me go back, I guess, in time a little bit. Last quarter, if you remember, if you were there, I kept on asking a gazillion questions about, should we post our pricing online? Should I cut my costs? What do I need to do because I wasn't closing anything? And fancy pants. Cliff was there, and no, he wasn't there, but he was there for a few other meetings before that. Loved the guy, amazing, and he was teaching us this great lesson about presenting the value, not the product. And I thought I was doing that, but I really, truly wasn't. So one of the things that I did was go through every single service that we were offering, every single line item in an Excel sheet, and basically the product, what problem are we solving, what's the benefit, and what's the solution. And I just went through everything, and I kind of followed that exercise. Shared it with Hallie. She shot it down.
Not accurate.
No, she helped me out big time. Hallie's an amazing, amazing person. She's like the older sister I never wanted. She's awesome. But whenever you need help, she's always there, and I'm super thankful. But she spent some time with me, basically saying, you know what, I think you can do better here, or why is this better, and those types of things. And so as an example, on one of the features that we had on one of our products was online cybersecurity training. What's the problem it solves? It's easy to educate staff on cybersecurity. The benefit is to prevent the number one threat of falling victim to cybercrime. So now, instead of telling people that we're selling online cybersecurity training, now we're saying we're going to help them build human firewalls with fun educational tools. So we did that for absolutely everything. Our updates, our antivirus solution, everything. And that's what we did in our proposals and whatnot. Now, when I was working on this presentation, I was really trying to think, okay, if there's one lesson or one message that I can really share with you guys that I think helps us and really kind of, I don't know, what we really, really worked on this last quarter, that is to invariably be simplified, right? So invariably meaning no matter what, I guess in every situation, do whatever you can, I guess always. Now I know invariably be simplifying doesn't have a nice ring to it, so I thought maybe the acronym IBS, right? So I would encourage you to IBS your business. It's so funny.
It stands for irritable bowel syndrome.
All right. So you might be wondering, how can I IBS my business? What? So let me help you with that. So I encourage you to go back home and sit down with your team and think about different things in your businesses that can really be simplified. And when you come up with something, don't just sit on it. Let it flow. Make it happen, right? Because if you don't, your business risks, kind of just getting stuck and just not moving along. And so we want to prevent that from happening. So to IBS your business, don't sit on it. Let it flow. Make it happen. Are we good? Because if not, your business will get stuck with no positive movement, and that is not what we want, right? So my master plan to IBS my business. Phil really did beg me to change it to just simplify your business or something like that. Is we improved our sales process, we improved our proposals, and we improved our websites. And like we changed it, like we scrapped it and we started fresh, which was really great. So I'm gonna basically talk about those three things. So our sales process. So this was basically the steps that we were before. We have, this is kind of from our CRM, our pipeline. So our first one's waiting arsenal. That one is kind of just, if one of their leads kind of goes quiet, we push it to that arsenal area, so it's there, but it's not really important. Because arsenal has access to our CRM, and that's what you can see and what everything else. But qualification, needs analysis, network analysis, sales meeting, and negotiation starting. So that kind of fits, I'm assuming, most of our pipelines. The reality is that network analysis is one of those things where I don't even know why it's there and why it needs to be there. Vendors push the network analysis really hard. I think Travis was telling me this, basically in an effort almost to kind of promote their products and everything else. But 5 or 6 years ago, having that network analysis step was a great thing to have because it set us apart, right? So, oh, this IT company told us how much it was gonna cost, but you proved to us how amazing you are and how much you know your stuff and everything else because you're offering the network analysis. Well, here's the problem. We're all offering the network analysis. Therefore, it's no longer special, except the fact that we're spending an extra week to present them with a proposal. It's costing us an insane amount of time to get it done. And it just didn't make any sense. So basically I said, forget it. I'm gonna have the qualification, which is basically just if they register, or if they wanna they show any form of interest, I'm gonna make sure it's a good fit. I'm gonna have one sales meeting, which is also the needs analysis and everything else, just a single meeting, and that's it, 2 steps. And after that, it's basically negotiations. Because at the end of the day, they don't care for a 2-week process. They want to know what's what. They want to start working now. They want to find a replacement or whatever. It's worth noting maybe too that I think part of the issues was that we had a lot of arsenal leads coming in, right? And so they might be comparing more and those types of things, which really hurt our close rate. Which is why, again, I felt like this was important to change that process. Now, when we close the deal, our CRM will automatically create a project with a task list and everything else, so that's where we cover the TBRs and everything else that James, you were talking about this morning, which is also really important. So we have that checklist and everything else, which we didn't have before. So just to recap, the sales pipeline, which used to take us 2 to 3 weeks before we even got to the proposal, takes 1 day. Next was the improved proposal. So like I said, I was super proud of my old proposal. I brought 5 copies if you guys want to check it out. But the old proposal still required some manual interaction. Figuring out how many users they had. Doing a mail merge, getting the company names in there and everything else. And that wasn't good enough for me because working from home, my house is outside the city, it's an hour away. Sometimes my assistant would call me and say, hey, great news, you got a lead, you got a meeting tomorrow morning. Well, it's already 4 o'clock at night. Great, sorry hon, I gotta go to the office to print and get ready for this meeting. So I didn't like that. So I wanted a proposal that was simple and easier to understand. I wanted a design that stands out. I wanted the same document. I don't want to do a mail merge. I don't want to have to print each time I meet somebody. Sometimes they show up at a meeting and you think you're meeting one person. You brought one proposal. Oh, whoops. Brought the CFO, brought the office manager. All of a sudden you got 4 people sitting around the room, but you still just have the one proposal, or the 2. So you hand both of them out. You're trying to remember their proposal by heart, which doesn't always work. So instead, we created proposals. We got them professionally printed, and we just bring these out instead. My salespeople have basically, 4 or 5 of these folders. Each will have 2 or 3 proposals plus an MSA ready to go. So they're meeting with somebody, they're good to go. They're upselling our clients, they have what they need. So no need to print or do any of that stuff anymore.
Matthew, real quick, what's all inside that folder?
Oh, just 5 proposals, just these.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, so they'll have a bunch of these in the car. So if they show up in the meeting and there's 5 of them, they're good to go. And then they have the MSA, so if they're ready to
Print that
sign.
in-house?
No, this is professionally printed.
Okay.
So it's a thicker cover, you know, the full lead, bright colors, those types of things.
What's your all-in cost on that?
I don't know for sure, but I want to say probably $2 or $3 per. Yeah.
So maybe you're gonna cover this, but then you just fill that out in front of them while
Yeah.
they're sitting there? Okay.
Yeah, I will cover. I have every single page on the presentation.
Okay,
We're gonna
okay.
go through the whole thing. It's gonna take a super long time.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're pre-made. There's no mail merge. There's no planned customization, and there's no in-office printing. And I know some people have trouble with that. And again, I mean, I think this is important, and it stands out because if you consider the majority, well, if not all of the other proposals that your prospects are going to see, they're going to be printed on plain paper. Some of them are still just black and white text. They're really, really boring, and they don't stand out at all. And so that's kind of what I want to do. So if I have the meeting through Teams still, and it still happens once in a while, it's really, really rare. Basically, I created this version, which is basically our proposal that I go through with them. It's the exact same page format, everything else in there. So I'll just jump straight to, as an example, I guess I won't cover everything, but we used to do the whole, you know, our proposal was like 12 pages long. It had our core values, it had our promises, it had our rewards, it had all those things in there before we even got to what services we offered. And the services we offered was a 1-pager, 3 columns, here's the services, and here's the check boxes, here's your 3 prices, right? Like everybody else. We basically scrapped all of it. They get our core values, they get our 9 promises, they get our awards in our shock and awe package. They get that on our website, all that other information. And instead, the proposal would just jump straight into the services. And we're putting more emphasis on that because if you take every single page and every single line item, that's a super long list that confuses the crap out of your prospect and they don't really know what they're getting. So essential IT services, as an example, IT success manager, ensure accountability and strong relationship with a dedicated expert. Instead of saying asset management, we're saying maintain a clear IT roadmap with budget forecast. CFOs love budget forecast. Ensure best practices within your existing environment for security and group policy management. That was one I was always stuck on. It's like, how do I explain that feature? Keep your software and operating system up to date and secure, which is one I think that Hallie didn't like because it still wasn't giving us the why. But yeah, so that's what we do for our essential IT services. We do the same thing for our help desk. And what's really fun, again, is bright colors. You know, we're trying to promote that we're fun, that we're simple, that we're easy to work, and we're really trying to do that through the entire, you know, from our shock and awe box to the proposal, to even just signing up. I mean, you know, the whole process is super, super easy process. Trying to see what else I can talk about for this one. So that's for our help desk. That's for our cybersecurity. And so again, the online cybersecurity training, it's gamify cybersecurity while creating human firewalls with fun educational tools. This screenshot has been extremely helpful during the presentations because you're trying to explain this whole PII or not GSN, PII Protect is GSN? BSN. And having this screenshot there has been really great when you're just talking to the CEO and making them understand how the cybersecurity training platform is going to work and those types of things. And so that's been really, really good. Again, every single point, we kind of have the reason why that's important. After each section is, do you have any questions before we jump on to the next? So we can't say, you know, do you have any questions 4 times when you're going through a table, but it's really, really easy when we split this up like this. Backup, disaster recovery, and then mission control, which is our online platform. Then, our pricing. This is how we price it out, again, in here and on there. And so now, another thing I was trying to tackle was co-manage versus fully manage. So this one proposal allows us to basically present both of them, because it's not just the one column where you have option A, B, and C, it's build your own thing, right? If you want the help desk and the essential, or you just want the cybersecurity, or you just want the backup, build it out. There's your options. What's been really, really great with this is oftentimes you come in and they want to compare you with what they currently have. So one of our options was, before, it was essential services for $60,
$139.
essential with
$139 per
cybersecurity, and then it was essential cybersecurity award-winning help desk. Those were 3 columns. But oftentimes they were saying, you know, when you're more expensive because it's $100 per user, we're only paying $120 or $110 or whatever. So now it's easier to compare and say, well, listen, I mean, we went through the whole booklet. You don't have anything from this package. You've only got a few things from this package. But if you say, you know, those prices together, all of a sudden it kind of makes more sense. Somehow it just works better. It's weird, it's strange. And then we have our pricing, which is fill in the blank. Tim, I think that was you asking that, or Dale. It's just this over here. And if we sit there, how many users do you have? Great. And then we put it together, pen and paper. It's strange, but it works. And that's it. Yep.
So what if you got somebody who's like, I want this, this, and this, but I don't want backup and disaster recovery?
Cool. Yeah. Great. I'll give you those top 3 without the backup. Yeah.
Even if they got nothing else?
Yeah. Yeah.
You listed $139 per server for backup and disaster recovery, but you also had said 1 terabyte on the previous. So is it $139 per terabyte?
No, it's just the Alto from Datto.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the majority of the time, it'll work just great. There are situations where it'll be more. So we might come into an environment and be like, wow, you guys have 8 servers and, you know, way more. Okay, listen, these top 3 things still apply. We're gonna budget the $140 per server, but know that, hey, we're gonna probably do this. It'll probably save you on your monthly side and whatever, right?
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Who helped you design this?
Okay, so, Paige, I think, okay, so, I asked Paige is my marketing person, to help me do this. And the design came out in a way that I really wasn't too crazy about, so I took it and I kind of made it myself. And she wasn't too thrilled that I kind of had done that, right? I mean, I guess, so, and she's, what is great, what I really love about my team is we have a pretty open environment. So she had no trouble to just speak her feelings about it. She felt I said, you know, and everything else. And there's some stuff that she didn't like about what I did. So she took it and added a few little things. I complained, I modified a little bit, and then it kind of just came out this way.
Okay.
So yeah, so just, yeah.
I'd love to be able to implement something like that because it's really simple for the customer to understand.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
How long have you been using it and how successful has it been?
I will get that.
Okay.
It's been 45 days. 45
Okay.
days only, and I really wish I could give you guys a bigger timeline, but definitely I'll tell you some of the wins that we've had in those 45 days.
Next
So,
quarter,
next-
can we know the results of how good you use your package?
Yeah. Yes. I had something there, but. So, step 3 was improving our website. Again, it was, we were trying to simplify everything. And the first experience that our prospect is going to get is going to be online not necessarily through the proposal. Even if they're going through Arsenal, we always see them going through the website first, taking a look at the website and everything else. And so we wanted to make sure that everything matched, right? So the website was actually the first thing that we did, or that I did. And what I thought was fun is actually I went off online and the Wayback Machine, from when I started my company in 2008, and I was curious to see the whole timeline of our website. And this was my first website, and I was really proud of this website. So this was in 2008 when I just started off the business, and it was with my bud Sean, and then myself. I was really proud of this website. 2 years later, we came up with this one, and this is one that we still see pretty often. Right, IT companies still have sites that look like this, and this was our 2010 site. And so, which is funny because there's still some stuff that we still kind of kept, which is kind of weird. 2015, we Robinized our site, and we put my face on there, which I was never crazy about. And so 2 years later was the website that I've been sharing with you guys for a long time. Funny thing is, when I went from this to this, so taking off my face, immediately I saw an improved, I'm not even kidding, immediately we saw a better response from our website. And so we had this website for 5 years. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we became completely complacent on our website and on our proposals, because we allowed time for our competitors to match, copy, and become just the same, where we were no longer different. So we then launched, oh, that's the wrong arrow, this one here, in 2022. So 45 days ago. And again, what we're trying to do is be simple, be fun, be positive. Like when you go over these boxes, they light up a different color. The colors that they line up matches the same color. So cybersecurity is always pink, backup's always teal, help desk is always blue. So we're trying to keep that consistent as well.
Do you think also that just by changing the content, you got more hits? Because Google sent more hits to you?
No, I don't think so, no. I think the response that we're getting in general though, is that when we get to the meetings, there's a whole different energy. I don't know how else to explain it. It's I don't know, yeah. But something else that we did change was the tagline, right? So are you searching for an honest, competent IT support company in Winnipeg to properly manage your business technologies? Who does that sound like? And it kind of has a negative undertone to it, right? Which is really not the image that we're trying to share. It's amazing how simple IT can be, right? Again, simplicity is a thing that we're really trying to push, and that's been really great. We put a lot of effort in the menu, although I feel like it's a pretty common looking menu now. The top right is basically the login for our mission control platform. Again, all of our services, when you go in the services tab, color coded. Again, very easy to kind of navigate and go through and find what you're looking for if you're looking for services. James mentioned how we have a YAB near IP page, so we had a video done for that. It has 3 or 4 clients on that video. The careers page has been great. Below here we have more pictures, I think, of our team having fun. So we've actually, in the last 45 days, had 2 really good candidates come to us and say, we want to work for you, which was really, really cool. One of them came from one of the competitors. Another one was a student. The competitor, I call him Kid, he's not Kid. But he's so good. And because he's got the MSP experience, it's been such an easy train to just kind of put them in. But again, it was just, it was crazy how quick he reached out to me on LinkedIn shortly after we went live on this website. Our services page has the exact same content as our proposals, and it's laid out in a way that, again, it's easy to understand. We tried to make it fun with pictures, colors, simplicity. It's really fun to promote our mission control platform. We have some new updates that I can't wait to promote on there too. We've been getting a lot more traction from larger leads because of our mission control. Because it's exclusive to us, which we kind of say that in the different areas on the website. Hey, you know, like this is only we have this. Only we can offer you this. You know, this type of portal service information, those types of things, which is really, really cool. And our pricing is online, which was a huge debate for a very long time, and it still is within our group. But I'm doing it. Nothing. All right. So yeah, so we did that, and so far we haven't had anything backfire because of it, which has been really, really neat. So our results in the last 45 days, we saw an immediate increase in the perceived value, like immediate. My first presentation, right off the hop, it changed, like it. Wow, this is a lot of value. This is great. We don't have this right now, but nothing changed. I'm offering the exact same service. In the last 45 days, we closed 3 clients. I got a verbal yesterday on a larger one that we're supposed to sign on Monday. And there's some other big ones that I'm to the point where I'm a little worried because they're going a little too well. We're not getting the no's. We're getting a, wow, this is really interesting, I'm not to talk this over, because there are some leads, they're not necessarily looking. So it's been really, really cool, which is probably why I've been obnoxious and annoying this past few days, because I'm happy.
Just the past few days?
More than usual. Well, we saw an increase in our close rate right away. I mean, we closed 1 in the last 4 months, we closed 3 in the last 45 days. The responses has been good, and the same thing with the recruitment efforts. Questions so far? Yeah.
I do. Can you go a step further and make a cart and let people check out?
So, almost. So what wrong way. It's okay, it's okay.
Super
Got
wrong
this.
way.
And my other question was, I liked the software that you were using for the proposals before that automatically kicked off. I was just curious. Had someone ask me about that recently.
What I was using?
Yeah.
So, I was using Zoho initially. And then when I had COVID and I was stuck in bed and I'm just not able to not do anything, I was just, I don't know, I found Pipedrive, and Pipedrive had just announced an integration with OneDrive. So I was able to do the same thing, but instead of having to use Zoho Doc, where you have to recreate everything, I was able to do it using just Word. So then, I was sick and bored, so I switched. Yeah, but they are both great and excellent. Okay, awesome. So over here, you were asking, so I do have a sign up button. And on the pricing page, there is 2 sign up buttons there too. Right now, it just fills out a form, which will automatically put them on the last stage of our pipeline to get them going. The form is basically how many users are you, how many servers do you have, what services you're interested in. We are in the process of having that fully integrated, I think with, is it Stripe, or there's another one in Canada that allows us to do our ACH. Because we do everything under ACH, so I want them to put in all that info in there to get started. Yeah.
So when you get down to the last page, okay, how many users do you have? How many servers do you have? And I've been in many meetings where they don't know how many users they have. They don't know how many computers they have. They don't know how many servers they have. I mean, it can get really confusing, and they don't know how much data they have on their servers either, which can affect backup price. So I like to do the systems analysis and cybersecurity analysis before we do the proposal, but it does lengthen the whole time. It's more complicated. I can understand your process here, but you want to make sure it's right, accurate as far as number
So
of
what's your
users.
concern?
I go in there and they say, well, we have 45 users, and they actually have 52, and yet now they're signing a contract with me for 45, or they think it's going to be that.
Okay.
So I guess we just have to come back there and say,
you made
really?
it clear that it's X amount of dollars per user. They sign up with 45, you do the onboard, you find out there's 52.
Yeah.
what
I
you
just
do.
have to say, well, I'm sorry, you guys, you got 52, you're gonna be charged for 52.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah. You're not changing anything,
yeah,
right? I mean, the stipulation was that. Now, we don't do long-term contracts or none of that stuff. We do have agreements that are 2 years. We don't call them contracts. They have a 60-day out at any point they want.
yeah.
But we make it pretty darn clear. I mean, hey, this is what you're paying for. If those numbers fluctuate, that's what it is.
Yeah,
So that's in the MSA, that if things fluctuate. then-
It's a per user pricing, and so under mission control, they see the list of all their staff members that are allowed to contact us. If they're not on there, we're not creating tickets for them. And they can go and add staff, remove staff, do all that kind of stuff through the portal. Yeah.
Now, if they don't know what they have, you feel like their network's a mess, would you propose an assessment? Or you
Yeah,
think-
so the one that we're likely going to be signing on Monday, it was actually an Arsenal league that went with somebody else. And then I sent them a note saying, hey, we have a new thing, I'd love to check it out, I'd love to show it to you. And then we didn't hear back up until maybe a week and a half ago, where they weren't happy with the company they went with. I sat down with this proposal, and I had brought one level 3 technician because he did say, you're walking into a time machine. I said, okay, no problem. So I brought our elite tech in there, and he didn't have any major concerns. He made him feel better that everything was good, and that's that. Yeah. I think we have a tendency to want to overcomplicate things, you know? And I don't know why. Because we were doing the same thing, but we were doing it because we thought, well, it was different at the time. When this whole network detective thing and everything else was like, 5 years ago, that was different. And it came to the point where prospects were like, yeah, but so-and-so has already done it. Can I just show you their report? Or let me guess, you're gonna want to do network analysis before you get the pricing? Or this company wants to charge me $500 to do the network analysis. Can you believe it? Will you do it for free?
Mhm.
They're expecting it, right?
Mhm.
And they don't even care to do it. They just want to, what are you gonna do for me?
What are you
How
gonna
much
do?
is it gonna be? How much is it
Yeah.
gonna cost? Those
Yeah.
types of things. And when I look at all the clients that we have maybe 1 or 2 that are slightly out of the norm. So if this process, whatever you guys want to call it, works for 98% of the prospects you're seeing, why not? I don't know.
yeah.
I think more and more environments are more sophisticated and more business owners are aware of what they have. So I think you're onto something really important here because we do need to keep it simple. And when you confuse a prospect, what do?
They don't buy.
Yeah, they say no, they don't buy. And we do have a tendency of overcomplicating. So I would just say one caveat, I think you lead with this, like you're gonna have great results. And then when you run into a cluster bomb, you can change gears really quick, saying, hey, we really need to do an assessment.
And we have offered to do an assessment in the past, but honestly, they've turned it down. Like, no, that's okay.
It is hard to get that assessment.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
So before you started doing this with proposals, did you use the scale pricing, more computers, a little bit less per computer or anything like that? And have you noticed any difference with this being just standard across the board?
So we started per user pricing back in like, 09 or 10 when we started doing the managed services stuff. And then we moved away from it because we got convinced to do it from, I think it was the RMM platform we were using. And I regretted that move because it overcomplicated things for me, for them, for everybody. So then we went back to a per user pricing. Now, before the question comes up, there are situations, we do have clients that will say, that are manufacturing. I got 10 shared computers used by 100 different staff members.
Mhm.
Am I paying 100 users? No, we'll just count them as 10, right? Like those questions will pop up. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're having a negotiation, right? And when we have those chats and everything else, like I'll be honest with you, like listen, we're gonna make it 10 because you have 10 computers. But in 3 months, we're gonna review this. And if we notice that these 10 computers are costing us what it should cost us to support 20 people, great. I mean, we're here to have a long-term relationship. We want it to be fair for both of us, and just, yeah, and it works. It totally works.
You said that you presented this on your first meeting with them or your second meeting?
First meeting. So my first meeting will start with the first half hour or so. It's basically, I'm trying to think of a nicer term than just hanging out. Just,
Yeah.
hey, how's it going? You know, having a good chat. One of the things that I do when I meet a prospect is if there is no smiling or laughing, I typically don't sign them on.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're going to fit our culture and those types of things. We're going to talk about issues. We're going to talk about what's going on. We'll start off. I'll ask for a tour, either before or after. And then after the first half hour, 45 minutes, and I know already the frustrations and everything else, it's like, great, cool. I can jump right into it. And I'll put the wedge where I can. Where those frustration points that they've talked about, I'll make sure that I bring those up. I don't need to, sit on it for a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can always tell in the first meeting exactly what I'm gonna charge them in the end, but I usually try to build the value up by doing an analysis, bringing in a cybersecurity analysis, look at all the red lines here, here's our proposal, here's our 2-inch thick contract.
Right.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so. But this is very clean and it's light and it's fun and it's easier to get them to sign.
I think that if I skipped all that and still presented my old proposal, I would not get the same response. I really, really would.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the way that it's broken down, that it's very customizable when it kind of isn't. It's funny because I'm not sure if I said this already. My wife doesn't get it. Like, I brought this home when I was all done, it was all printed, and it was all, and she's like, oh, cool, right? I'm like, well, check out my old one, and check out my new one. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's okay. And then I closed, we closed 3 after closing almost nothing for a long time. And she's like, well, why? And I'm like,
It has to
she's
be
like,
done.
aren't you selling the same thing? I'm like, I am. But they're seeing the value. They're seeing
Yeah.
it's clicking.
Well, they're understanding the value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you using for your mission control portal where they can see all that stuff?
It's custom built.
It's custom.
Oh,
written.
is it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe I noticed, I think, that you have backups for like individual workstations included under the advanced cybersecurity, rather than in the essential services. Was that strategic to get people to?
Because he's 3 times bigger.
Phil is totally not listening because that was the exact same question that Phil asked me yesterday.
Yeah.
have to get my passport.
Exact same question.
Nothing, no
Yeah.
one's talking to you.
Yeah.
Talking
So,
to Jason.
Get the
I don't know. I
travel
just
thing
felt
taken
that
off your
it
passport.
made
Yeah.
more sense there.
If Jeff, then no.
It's like a DOS program.
I agree with Matthew. because
If travel
it's a-
equals Jeff,
it's
then
a defensive
response equals no.
There's an incentive to go for that package.
You're protecting yourself from user error and cyber attacks.
It's not even
Right.
user error though. I mean, it is kind of.
For all ransomware or those types of things.
But that's what you're protecting, right? That's what the backups are for.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see that, but then why wouldn't antivirus also be included in the cybersecurity?
I'm not sure if you saw that. I had an antivirus in the essentials.
Yeah, but it's a.
But in the cybersecurity, I have SentinelOne.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade. And it even says on there, upgrade to, I don't say SentinelOne, I say EDR or whatever, I say upgrade.
Right.
But yes, I have both. Yeah.
So on your essentials, what are you using, just curious, for strictly for the AV? Are you still giving Sentinel, or are you, or you're just adding the Sentinel one piece to that?
Yeah.
To your existing AV, okay.
Yeah.
And shading it
Yeah,
to it.
we replace the AV and we tell them when I hit the cybersecurity thing, I tell them, listen, antiviruses are obsolete. And this is why I don't like them. The scans, the updates, by the time there's a threat, you're already 2 weeks behind, blah, 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 blah. We're losing the war against viruses. And therefore, this is why this. On the old package, selling cybersecurity was just a nightmare. And now it's like, yeah, you know what, we need this.
So
yeah.
what are you using for the basic antivirus?
I think Bitdefender through
Bitdefender,
Synchro.
okay.
Yeah. All right, any more questions? I'm gonna jump to my last slide.
I love the proposal, great job, love the colors, I love the font and the images, you know.
Yep.
We all admired that from your first website from eons ago, but, you know, well done.
Thank you, thank you.
So next slide.
So, the story, if you guys weren't at our dinner table a couple days ago, this was the first or second time that I'm presenting this proposal. And the CFO lady, after the meeting, she looks at me and she's like, wow, you know what, Matt? You have an amazing package that's hard to resist. And if you know me, you know, I'm gonna jump to something completely inappropriate. And so I stood there, my face was like, you know, and I mean, she must have known because she kind of looked a little awkward too. And then probably after 30 seconds, I was like, thank you. And the second I got back in my car, I called my wife, and I felt guilty. You know, I had this other woman tell me my package.
No, no.
So I called my wife,
I
I
never
don't
would've
believe
said
this.
nothing.
I have a package that's hard to resist. And she was like, bullshit. Yeah. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Ah,
I hope I
fantastic.
didn't disappoint.